Local news that matters. This is KLBK News at 6.
Good evening and thanks so much for joining us here on KLBK. I'm Terry Furman. Matt will join us live from Matador in just a bit. Devastation in a small town, 4 people dead and 15 more injured. That's a look at the tornado that ripped through the small town Wednesday night around 8 p.m. Now you see the community is just completely flattened. TxDOT having to shut down U.S. State Highway 6270 from Matador to Floydada because of all of the debris due to damage from the tornado, making it impassable. Lubbock first responders made their way to Matador to help with search and rescue as they worked through the night. Now today, Governor Greg Abbott declaring it a disaster for Matador and other Texas communities hit hard by severe weather. We also have an update on the livestock situation. All of the loose livestock was rounded up as of today, and there was a vet checking their conditions of those that lived. Now, DPS hosting a press conference at 5 o'clock this afternoon, giving an update on the cleanup efforts and what the community needs the most.
If you want to do something for the folks in Matador, change your donation styles to not really trying to bring something hard shell here. The cash donations is kind of what they need, or the monetary at the Happy State Bank is what we need. Also, I want to make sure that people, a lot of times in these kind of disasters, people want to start immediately bringing clothing and things like that to this area. They're not set up here. They cannot store clothing or those kind of things. Do not bring those type of donations out here.
All right, our Matt Stell is live on the ground in Matador for us evening. Now, Matt, what all have you seen today? Just kind of take us through some of the damage.
Yeah, good evening, Terry. Where I'm standing right here in Matador is off Highway 62, the main entrance into town. This is Billy Dean's Cafe. For years here in Matador, it has been one of the spots that you go to get a nice home-style cooked burger, fries, shakes, all that good stuff. But as you can see right now, not much of anything. The roof torn completely off this beloved establishment here as well. But this is the scene at a lot of places here in the town of Matador. Terry, a town that has around 600 people, one of those small, tight-knit West Texas communities that are all across the South Plains. Here on Highway 62 and throughout much of Matador, just damage and destruction. I want our viewers to see the road here on Highway 62 as you come into the town of Matador. A mangled mess, devastation everywhere you go on this street. Of course, a lot of businesses affected by that tornado that tore through here on last night around 8 o'clock. But this is just a portion of it. Now remember, Terry, when this storm hit Matador around 8, there was only about an hour of sunlight left. And this is what the people of Matador saw when they got up this morning. Let's take a look at that drone video that we got as the sun was coming up. If you see it here, devastation. Heartbreak for a lot of people. We talked to one woman who's lived in her home for years. It's considered an historic home built back in the 1910s. Her home completely flattened. As Terry, as you just mentioned, 4 people have tragically died, 15 injured. And we do know that one of those victims that died was taken to UMC in Lubbock, where they eventually passed. Now, as for those identities of those people that were killed in this storm here in Matador, DPS tells us is they will release those names later. They're still working on getting some final confirmation, making sure that they're getting in contact with the family members of those people. DPS told me that some of those folks that were injured and those that may have been killed were not originally from Matador. Some from California and from out west, but wanted to come to Texas for a new life. And so as you can imagine, it's been a struggle trying to get in contact and get more information from them. Now you might remember earlier today, we showed you an interview that our Jacob Riley, with a man that our Jacob Riley had talked to. His name is Anthony Boyd. He had just gotten home around 8 o'clock after a long day at work when he felt that the wind was blowing in the opposite direction that the storm was coming. Well, after checking his weather app and doing a few things, he decided and looked at the radar, he decided that it was time to make his way into his storm cellar under his house. Well, he gets inside of his cellar, And then he tells me that 20 seconds, it was some of the worst sounds that he'd ever heard in his entire life. Derry, get this, he was stuck in his cellar for more than an hour, nearly an hour and a half. His pickup truck that he had bought not too long ago had been torn up and thrown on the other side of town. He also had a car that he had just purchased on Friday. That car also destroyed. That had to be taken off as well. But he says he was stuck in his cellar for so long that he had to have people come and rescue him out. People that thought that he wasn't even home because they didn't see his truck there. But lo and behold, he was stuck under his house. When he got up this morning, he saw his beloved home destroyed. He's one of those people also originally from California. I talked to him today about what he felt about seeing this morning. Here's what he had to say.
It's amazing. I tell people how you can go from thinking about, oh, you know, I'm planning on doing this tomorrow, or oh, I'm planning on renovating the house, or whatever these plans you have, to now you're just grateful for a charger for your phone, because you have the clothes on your back. I have my wallet, my phone, but no charger, and so that someone gave me a charger from, I think it was Sprint or whoever down there, but that was probably one of the biggest things. And I can, keep communicating and handle my insurance and everything else. And so it really changes how you look at things.
Terry, it's the small things, a phone charger. I asked Anthony what he was going to do tonight. He says that he's had plenty of people offer him rooms to stay, so he's not worried about that. He's just glad that he survived and that he has his life. Those people that were there helping him clean up today, he didn't call really 90% of those people. He knew some of them, but they just came to his home because that's what the community of Matador is all about, helping each other. And that's exactly what we saw today. Despite the loss of lives, the loss of businesses, the loss of homes here, people are coming together to start the rebuilding process. KLBK's Peyton Reeves explains how that all works. Peyton?
Wednesday night after worship practice at Faith Fellowship Church, Terry Blassingame was in a race for safety.
Got on down to the four-way intersection where Hop In and Allsops is, and I looked to my right, and about 200 feet off to my right was a tornado. And I could see the debris and stuff flying, and it was actually the edge of the tornado because it was swirling back around it. So I turned left and gunned it as hard as I could. The back of my truck was bouncing because the tornado was getting close. Ken Romine says the damage from the twister is some of the worst he's seen in all his years in the area.
Been around tornadoes my whole life, and this is one of the worst. It's bad. It leveled it. I've been to the Lubbock tornado after that. Canton, I went down and cooked at Canton. This is tough right here. It is. Yeah.
But Blassingame says the support and help rebuilding the community is even more impressive.
What I'm really impressed with is the turnout of support from the first responders, from just the community as a whole. We come together. But like I said, this is what we do.
The pair decided they couldn't just sit and watch people help. They had to jump in too.
Ken called me about 11:30 that night, and he said, "Are you still in Matador?" And I said, "No." I said, "I'm at the house." I said, "We can't do nothing tonight." He said, "What can we do for him?" I said, "We can cook and we can supply water." And he said, "Let's do it."
The Dickens County residents encourage people in surrounding towns to help out in any way they can and are optimistic about the slow but steady recovery.
I tell you what, if you weren't affected by this, you need to donate or help some way if you can. They're taking clothes, they're giving away clothes. There's several people cooking. We're just trying to keep people fed, fed and hydrated. That's the main thing. If they're going to work, they got to eat.
This is what we do. This is West Texas. This is what we do.
Peyton Reeves, KLBK News.
Peyton, thank you very much. But folks, that's not the only way their people are helping out here in the town of Matador. The local Lowe's grocery store has donated every single thing from their store to the people that need it the most. Matt Corbin with Lowe's says that he drives through Matador pretty often and really just wanted to make sure that the people here could at least put something in their stomachs.
We want to make sure the community here is taken care of, so we've got tables and tents, water. We've got food. We're providing sandwiches for anybody and everybody who needs them. We've donated as much as possible to anybody that has refrigeration, has freezers. So we've gotten over to the fire department and some of the other municipalities, and they were able to take, everything that we were able to give them.
And Corbin tells us that they're hoping to get their Lowe's grocery store back up and running very soon, but of course they need power for that. We'll get into that situation a little bit later. But this town, it's going to need a lot of assistance, not just for a few days, not just for a few weeks, Terry, but for months and months to come. They're also getting help from out of town. That's where the South Plains Food Bank from out of Lubbock steps in, doing all that they can to lend a hand. Here's KLBK's Brent Jordan.
Providing emergency assistance to communities in need is one of the many ways South Plains Food Bank steps in to help. And with the devastation to the Matador community, they are willing to help for as long as needed. The first food truck went out to Matador this morning, feeding first responders and seniors as a priority.
We brought our pop trailer out here. We filled it up with lots of food, some hygiene products if we had it, but we want them to come out and get some food. Most of this food is self-sustainable, so there's snacks, there's stuff that you can eat automatically. You don't need any electricity to use it, and so we want them to come and get food from us. This is what we're here for. This is why all of our team came. We woke up this morning ready to go. Matador is one of the 19 counties the South Plains Food Bank serves, and they said it was imperative to help during this challenging time. With the help of HEB, United, Gandy's, and the Texas Division of Emergency.
Reliant Energy looking to help if needed, and I think part of what we'll be facing is we have this short-term issue of supplying emergency needs, but then it's going to be a long haul, I think, that the food bank is ready to support. So we'll be there setting up a food pantry to go on and really help be there for the rebuilding of Matador.
The food bank will send 1 truck a day and increase efforts as needed. Other local organizations, including Concho Warehouse, 806 Collision, and the Texas Women in Business, are also helping. There is a relief fund set up at Happy State Bank, and donations can be made at any location.
Part of our mission is to give hope, and that's really what we're trying to do at this time of need, is to give hope to those individuals and just make sure that they're able to go on and help rebuild the community.
Head tells me the best way for the community to help during this time is with a financial donation. To learn how you can do that, visit the link over on everythinglubbock.com. Reporting from South Plains Food Bank, Brent Jordan, KLBK News.
Brent, thank you very much. As you can see here, folks, the ongoing theme here is helping each other out in times of need, especially in times of disaster. We've talked to plenty of people who said that they skipped out work, that they had other plans. One person told me that they planned on going on vacation today, and their house was totally fine. But they decided that they needed to help, that they needed to stay and help out their neighbors. Okay, let's talk about some other things. I mentioned power. We learned from DPS that, of course, power is still not on here in the city of Matador. They're working to get that power restored here by tomorrow, possibly Saturday. So, of course, we're all hoping for tomorrow, but that's still an issue right now. Running water is not an issue right now. Matador gets its water from out of town, so running water is no problem at all. But as you heard, donations are still needed, but very specific donations. They're asking that you not bring any more bottled water. Of course, you think that'd be the first thing to do, right? They actually have too much bottled water right now, and they don't have anywhere to store it. If they don't have anywhere to store it, it'll just sit outside in the heat, and of course, we don't want that to happen. So Matador is okay when it comes to bottled water. They've got plenty of that. For those wanting to maybe bring clothing, the city says they're okay on that as well. What would really help out is what Brent just mentioned, Happy State Bank. Cash. So if you would like to donate, a monetary donation will help these people the most. So go to your nearest Happy State Bank, wherever you are across the South Plains and the Panhandle, and just ask for the fund that is helping out the town of Matador after Wednesday's tornado, and you can donate cash to help out the folks here. Terry?
Now, Matt, you've seen most of the town today. Are you seeing people just in shock? What is the mood there? Just determination, shock? What is it mainly?
I think we're seeing a little bit of both, Terry, actually. Of course, shock would be the most natural reaction because this tornado just came in and wreaked so much havoc on this town in such little time. You know, if you compare this to a hurricane or a flood, that usually happens over some hours or some few days. This storm here in Matador last night around 8 o'clock happened within 5 or 10 minutes and then moved on to the next place. So of course, shock is everyone's first reaction. When I was talking to Anthony earlier, he says, you know, you can have all these plans to renovate your home. You're gonna get new floors for your kitchen, gonna, you know, paint your walls in your living room different. And then something like this can happen, and that puts all of that on the back burner. But you also mentioned motivation, Terry, and that's exactly what we're seeing. If you've noticed, I'll step out of the way, you'll notice just the number of cars and trucks and tractors just flying into the city of Matador. It seems like every 2 or 3 minutes, we're seeing a brand new truck or tractor coming in just to help. People are motivated to help out their neighbors. Of course, we've seen people from out of town as well. We've seen firefighters from as far as Roanoke, Texas. And for folks who don't know where Roanoke is, that's right outside of Fort Worth. That was a 5-hour drive for them. But they're first responders, and of course, their first response is to help out when needed. So you've seen a compilation of both here in the city of Matador. And folks, that's not going to end tonight at all. One thing else I wanted to mention, Terry, Covenant Hospital. Covenant has donated $20,000 to help out with the recovery efforts here. And I imagine that's probably just going to be the first of many large sums of money that'll be given to this town who really needs it right now.
Matt, thank you so much for all of your coverage down there and for talking with the folks of Matador. And we know that people will continue to come out and donate to Happy State Bank, and people will continue to do that. Matt, thanks so much. We'll talk to you in a bit.
See you, dear.